Okay, so that should give us volume there. I apologize for that. Trying to do too many things, I guess, at once. I didn't click. I clicked the unmute. Sometimes that button works. I guess sometimes it doesn't. So sorry about that. So thank you. So I think we have sound now, Ela Shiva. I think we do. As I'm looking at my levels, we should be good. So thank you for those warnings there. So I have put the link. Here's what I was saying. Okay. So today's show, we're going to talk about the Boston game, but I really don't have any talking points at the major league level because we had a big show on Wednesday night. We talked all about the trade deadline. We've talked all about the Dodgers at this point. Yes, the sound works now. Thank you, Ela Shiva. Sometimes I am a very not high-tech redneck, and I try to do all these things. I have all these different platforms. I've got a bunch of different features within the show, and I clicked the button. It just didn't go over, so I'm going to blame technology on that. I'm willing to admit whenever I'm wrong. I don't think I did anything wrong there, but we're going to move on from that because I had to unplug it and plug it back in. So I don't really have any teaching points at the major league level today. What I want is I put the link to the show in the chat there. We have 11 people logging in so far. We have a big crowd logging in on the TikTok side. I posted the link on Instagram, Facebook, and X. If you want to join the show, whatever we talk about as far as the major league level today, I want it to be driven by you. If you have a topic you want to talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers, log into the show, click that link, log into the show, and then we will talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. But as far as me, I don't really have any talking points about the LA Dodgers. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to cover all of the Down on the Farm segment, and it's going to be covered a lot from the perspective of the trade deadline's coming up, this and that. We're going to get into the Blake Treinen. And so we're going to get into the Blake Treinen rehab outing last night. It was a back-to-back, so I would have to think that that's it for him. He is going to be with the Dodgers this weekend in Boston. We're going to cover Alex Freeland. Chucky Robinson had a big day for AAA Oklahoma City. Going to kind of get into his impact in terms of what he does for the younger players. Justin Robleski goes tonight for AAA Oklahoma City. At the AA level, I got to see Jackson Ferris with my own eyes last night, and I got some great video from behind home plate. Jason Cabrera hit 100 miles an hour. Jermaine Rosario hit 2,700 on a spin rate and a fastball that was hitting 98. And then Antonio Knowles, got to see that slider spin. Zire Hope had a huge night for High A Great Lakes. Eric Swan had a very good start. Evan Shaw had a good relief outing. And then you had the walk-off last night that was just well-executed baseball by the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, where you had the placed runner in Samuel Munoz. He got Oswaldo Osorio hit a ground ball behind him, got moved to third, and then Angel Diaz hit a sac fly to score Munoz. And so you had two walk-offs last night in the system with Tulsa and Rancho. You had a big night from Zire Hope, and then Oklahoma City won. So you had a organizational sweep at the minor league level. So that's what I'm going to get into, talk about that aspect of it. I told you to do your homework. If you had any homework, if you did your homework and you have anybody prospect-wise you want to talk about, leave that in the chat. Also, just one last reminder, hop on and let's talk to you on today's show. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to the videos, and we're going to start our Down on the Farm segment, and away we go. So this is Blake Treinen right here. Very, very, very successful rehab outing for him. No doubt about that. Blake Treinen last night looked not only, okay, so here's a big deal for him. Blake Treinen back-to-back. I've been telling you for a long time now, if you want to know when Blake Treinen is going to come up to Los Angeles, just pay attention to when the back-to-back happens. So, and I mentioned on yesterday's show, this was the perfect opportunity for the back-to-back because he'd been throwing great, and his arm looks really good. So you had the back-to-back last night with Blake Treinen. Not only did you have the back-to-back, he also pitched great. So like one of the precursors I gave to you yesterday is if he does the back-to-back and completely implodes and it looks terrible, then they might continue to try to grind on from there. But as long as it's not a complete implosion, if you see the back-to-back, likely that means Blake Treinen is heading up to play with Los Angeles. So you got the back-to-back. He pitched very well. I can't see any possible way that this was not the last rehab outing for Treinen. I can't see any way that he's not in Boston this weekend. Let me give you an example of, you're seeing that sweeper there, of how well he threw last night. He threw 5 of those sweepers. Out of the 5 sweepers, 4 of them landed in the zone. So it's not just the fact that he's healthy, he's also pitching as well as he can right now. 2 of his 3 cutters and sinkers were in the zone as well. So not only was he nasty, he also was in the zone. And so he was very, very good last night. So Blake Treinen, super excited where he's at. Super excited that I would have to think, we talk about all the, I went on and on about needing relief pitching, needing strikes. That's one thing. He threw strikes last night, needing all of that, and he has provided that in the pen for AAA Oklahoma City. We know that he's very nasty even on, obviously, the major league level. So super excited about that front. Another guy that I'm super excited about that had a really, really great outing last night, and it's amongst really kind of a patch that hasn't been all that great. That's a weird uniform, those 2 different color grays. Hey, the Oklahoma City Comets, they absolutely nailed it on the uniforms. There's 100% about that. But I don't like last night's. I don't like the 2 different colors of gray. That's a little bit too funky, and I just don't think that has the right look there. But every other uniform I've seen, I've absolutely loved. But Nick Frasso, it's been somewhat of a tough year for him. This is a guy, when you talk about reinforcements, he easily could be one. He has the crossfire. He has a fastball that, when you see that crossfire would lance at the third base side, he has a fastball that in the past has hit 100. He has a lot of unique properties that make it, see there, hitter just not comfortable. He has a lot of unique properties that make it uncomfortable on hitters. The Dodgers need Nick Frasso to be Nick Frasso. See that high fastball? Nick Frasso was hot last night. That high fastball you just saw was 99 miles an hour. This could be a guy that could be, I talked about Ronan Kopp and Julian Fernandez. Really, Nick Frasso needs to be the guy because he has so many unique properties. It will translate to the major league level. He's just got to put it together. He's trying to put it together and create consistency off of his shoulder surgery last year. And last night, to be honest with you, I like to keep it real. I like to be very positive, but I do like to keep it real too. We have the tough conversations around here. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Last night, in my opinion, was the best that I had seen Nick Frasso pitch probably in the last 2 years. So 99 miles an hour with the fastball. His spin rate averaged over 2,300, and he had his fastball, changeup, slider, and he was throwing them all for strikes. So this year it's been like, okay, well, he's throwing strikes, but the velo's not up, so he gets hit. Or maybe the velo's up, and then he's not throwing strikes. Or he has, maybe 1 pitch going, but not the other 2. Last night he had all 3 pitches going. They were all in the zone. He had the velo to bump with it. That's up to 99 miles an hour. Nick Frasso is one to put on DEFCON 5 because he found the best version of himself. And because of that, if he continues to pitch like this, he will make himself 100% a player to be reinforcement at the major league level. And I'll tell you another guy that has kind of floundered around in the wilderness this year, but is super, super, super talented and had a really, really awesome outing last night is Jose Rodriguez. Let me get you some Jose Rodriguez on the board here. You see that it looks like a crossfire. It looks like he's going to land at third base side, but he actually doesn't. So Jose Rodriguez is a young man that it was interesting last night. His changeup is his bread and butter, but his fastball at some point, I promise you, is either going to touch 100 miles an hour or it is going to come very, very close. Jose Rodriguez is very talented, But he's gone through a stretch recently where he just has not thrown enough strikes. And in talking to Jose, he just mentioned, hey, I've been moved up pretty fast. It's been a difficult transition. And so it just is what it is, working through it and trying to find the best version of myself. Remember, he has the highest swinging strike percentages year after year of anybody in the organization. So the swing and miss aspect of what Jose Rodriguez brings to the table is elite, not good. It is elite. I comfortably can say that because the swinging strike percentage is always so good. So the ceiling for Jose Rodriguez is just, all the way through the sky. What he has to do now is create consistency, which will create a higher floor for him. His bad outings tend to go sideways on him. So the thing is, it's hard for him to have good numbers and good statistics because he'll have a stretch where he has 3 or 4, maybe 5 games where he does not throw as well. And then it's hard to say, well, this guy's a really big contender to make the major leagues whenever you don't have that consistency piece there. So this is not a guy, in my opinion, Jose Rodriguez, that is threatening the major league level at all. And I don't mean that to sound negative because nobody's higher on him than I am. I mean that to say realistic that, like I said last year about Edgardo Henriquez, he just simply needs more time. He needs as much time as he needs. When you have 7 foot of extension, when you have the unique properties in his windup that you have there where it looks like a crossfire and it's not, when you have a changeup that is a centerpiece type pitch, that is a guy that you're going to continue to run out there and wait for him, for the light bulb to go off and for him to find the best version of himself over and over and over on a consistent basis. So Jose Rodriguez, very talented. You talk about another talented young man that all Dodgers fans need to monitor very heavily, and that is Alex Freeland. Alex Freeland is a guy that if Max Muncy is not as healthy as the Dodgers think, you could bring him up to play third base. He's been playing a lot of third base lately. Alex Freeland, a great athlete, good defender, switch hitter, hits well from both sides of the plate that you're seeing here. Hit a home run. Actually, yeah, there's a triple. He hit a home run right-handed, hit a triple left-handed, made some great plays at third base. Has made several different great plays at third base as of late. So not only do you need to know about Alex Freeland for what maybe he can provide Los Angeles on the Dodgers roster, but you also need to know about Alex Freeland because I promise you, if you want to go get a Johan Duran or a Griffin Jax or a Mason Miller or an Emmanuel Clase, Alex Freeland will be probably the first name that they bring up that they want. Maybe a Justin Robleski. They're going to want somebody that they think they're not going to give away, I don't think, like a Griffin Jax unless they think they're getting a major league return back. So maybe a Justin Robleski because he's going to plug right in, or maybe maybe they consider Alex Freeland to be major league ready. If they went and acquired him, they would immediately send him to the major league club, somebody like that. And then they're going to want probably some bigger prospects down the line as well. So Alex Freeland, I have to think, I love the young man in terms of the way he plays the game. I love his game. I just think he's the one you need to put on radar watch because I think he's one that's really in jeopardy. I think he's one that the Dodgers would move, and not because they don't think he's a really, really good player and has a chance to be a really, really big contributor somewhere down the line, but because they have Mookie Betts at shortstop. He's a Hall of Famer. Max Muncy is likely going to be back with the Dodgers next year. So what do you do? Do you not play Alex Freeland at all next year? And he's Rule 5 eligible, as CNAV is saying, so you're going to have to put him on the 40-man roster anyways in the offseason. So if there's any one prospect to watch the most right now, it would absolutely be Alex Freeland, 100%. And he had a great night last night. Matter of fact, he had a home run, a triple, and a double. No, he had a home run, a double, and a single in his first 3 at-bats last night. So by the 4th inning, all he needed was, I think I said he had a triple earlier. That was not true. So by the 4th inning, all he needed was a triple to hit for the cycle. Obviously didn't get that. Ended up with 4 hits, though. But here's a young man that did get a triple, and that is one of the fastest young players in the Dodgers system, and that is Justin Dean. They call him Big Papa. That's because that's his handle on his social media. There's a triple that you see right there. Big night. Justin Dean had 2 hits, walked 4 times though. So Justin Dean was in you remember him from spring training. He brought a lot of electricity. He was in the leadoff spot last night, had 2 hits, 4 walks, and then he stole his 22nd base. We're going to get into all the stolen bases whenever we get done with all the prospects. So what a night at the leadoff spot for Justin Dean. He's hitting .294, OPS 835, hit streak extended. He has an 8-game hit streak, and he's hitting .329 so far in July. So great night last night for Justin Dean. I've already covered. Let me actually go down to these are out of order, so give me just a chance, just a second here to get to my Tulsa stuff that I got last night, and I got to see Jackson Ferris from behind home plate, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. My beautiful bride of soon-to-be 26 years next week and I went down the Cimarron Turnpike, went through God's country in Stillwater, and then went through, matter of fact, the Ferris live stuff did not make it, so I'm going to actually have to pull over Twitter here. So if it's a little, give me a second, it's going to have some noise there. Let me turn that noise off, and let's go from there. So we'll have to do it that way. Okay, so Jackson Ferris last night. This is live video of him, and we will continue to talk about him as we go. So Jackson Ferris, the second just ridiculously great outing in a row. I can tell you, the fastball, slider, all of that was absolutely awesome last night. Let me go ahead and reopen another. I'm having to do this from X because it didn't transfer over in my files. So let me do this. Give me just a second to find where I was at on a second window here, and then let's go right there. Davis Chastain, I just saw a tweet. He is actually signing the young man out of Georgia that the Dodgers signed just recently out of the University of Georgia. So Jackson Ferris, this is him getting ready to take the mound. This is him doing his bullpen work. And so now let me back this up and let's get to his first inning of action right here. Here's actually a good close-up of him. We're going to have some noise when this happens. And so here's a good look at Jackson Ferris and his windup in terms of just kind of getting a close-up of him. And then here is his first inning. Let me actually mute this if I can. Mute that. And then right here, let me open that wide so we can get a good look at Jackson Ferris. Go ahead and mute it there. And then let's talk. This is the first inning of Ferris. 96. So the thing about it, his straight fastball, that one there, typically to the glove side, was that one there. That one's 96. That one there, the Taylor, the one that had a tail to it, that one there was about 93. So he really had 2 different, I tried to give you a couple different looks here on Jackson Ferris. So he had 2 different types of fastballs. He had a straighter fastball, the 4-seam, that one, that was about 96. Then he had the 2-seam, that one there, that had tail to it, that was at about 93. So that's the first layer of that. And the movement was late. And then the good thing about that too, that makes him very tough, is that his slider was 10 miles an hour off of his 4-seam. His slider was that one there, that's 86 miles an hour. So you're talking about 96 on the fastball, 86 on the slider, with a 93 bridge in between, with movement on it, with his changeup. That's before you get to the big sweeping stuff and all of the curveball type shape stuff that we're going to get into. That's Griffin Lockwood Powell that caught last night that you're seeing there. So let's get into some more of his secondary stuff and the rest of his action here as we continue on talking about Jackson Ferris. So Jackson Ferris, really, he was able to the first time through, he was more of a fastball slider. See that tail there? Fastball slider. And then the second time through, there's a nice slider in on the hands. He was more fastball changeup. See how that ball moved left? Let me back that up if I can. If I can back that up, just watch this left turn coming up just in a second. Not here, but right there. Nope, this next pitch right here. Watch this left turn. Right there. That's a big-time left turn. So that's his sinker. And so then the second and third time through, there's that one. That one's there. So let me back that up. You saw a sinker. That was actually the changeup that you saw just that last pitch. There's the 2-seam. And then this next pitch, watch the changeup. See how they're exactly shaped the exact same? I mean, both have straight horizontal movement. They look there's another one of those sinkers. Exact same shape, exact same movement, both exactly horizontal, coming out of the exact same window, but one is 93 and the other is 86. And so it looks like a fastball coming out of the hand. It shapes the same to a hitter, but it's 7 miles an hour off, and it makes it really difficult to hit. So Jackson Ferris was pairing the fastball slider early on, mixing the 4-seam and 2-seam. Later on, he was more 2-seam. Boy, that's a nasty pitch. Was more 2-seam changeup, shaping them the same way. So a lot of skill and great execution for Jackson Ferris last night. I want to show you one more round of video. Well, actually, I don't. That was all of the video I had on him. So there you go. So let's get now to one of my favorites. If you follow Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network at all, you know that I am high on Carson Hobbs. I have told you over and over to put Carson Hobbs in your Rolodex because this dude is good. I actually sat next to Sam, one of the pro scouts for the Dodgers last night. Carson Hobbs was 96, 97. His spin rate was around 2,400. So the big fastball, but then you also had, to the lefty Menlinger here in a minute, watch the 3 sliders in a row if we can get to that point of his outing. I want to make sure and talk long. Let me get to the lefty here. There's a good slider there. Let me go ahead and get to the lefty Menlinger because I want you to see the 3 sliders in a row that he threw this young man because it was very impressive. If I can actually, let me back up and see if I can get to my lefty here. Right here. This is actually Menlinger right here. There's a righty. Let me fast forward that. Actually, there's an out, so it should be, nope, not yet. This is a little bit weird. Okay, here we go. There comes a slider, 3 in a row. He threw 3 sliders in a row, including one. There's 2, and that was actually the 3rd slider in a row. And he actually finished Menlinger off with a 3-2 slider to strike him out. So you have the big 96-mile-an-hour fastball, 2,400 RPMs, and a centerpiece slider, and then also a centerpiece curveball that is just absolutely fantastic. So just really, Carson Hobbs, I had never seen him pitch in person, only on video. I had mentioned several different times how impressed I was by him, and I can tell you what I saw with my own eyes did nothing but confirm what I thought. And so great job, Carson Hobbs. And then I'll tell you what, another guy I've been telling you about a lot lately, this is Jermaine Rosario. Yes, I do have video of Yunsek Jang. I can get to that. Whatever happened to Joseph Dang, he's still at the complex that we think rushing might be headed to Boston. It's possible. Bring up Freeland and Ward if not traded, says Tark the Shark. Start the clock on Freeland, isn't he? Yes, he is Rule 5 eligible. So this is Jermaine Rosario. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there's been inconsistencies. They just moved him to the pen. But ladies and gentlemen, put Jermaine Rosario in your Rolodex. The light bulb is going off. Now sit down, get your popcorn, and listen very carefully to what I'm saying here, okay? Jermaine Rosario was touching 98 last night. That's not the biggest part of it. His spin rate touched 2,700. I'm going to say that again. Jermaine Rosario's spin rate touched 2,700. That's 90. And then look at that slider there. Now imagine 2,700 RPM fastball at 98 with the cutter that you just saw on that pitch and the slider that you saw on the pitch before that. I'm telling you, last summer, that slider there. Last summer, about this time, I went and watched Ronan Kopp and Edgardo Henriquez. At that point, I said, Edgardo, look at that slider. I said, he is as untouchable as somebody can get. I mean, for the right price, you're going to sell everybody, right? But I'm saying that about, and what I said about Henriquez was he takes your breath away. Now, I'm not saying that, obviously, Jermaine Rosario is untouchable. I'm not stupid, right? I mean, he's in Double-A, and he still hasn't created consistency. What I am saying is his stuff takes your breath away. That 2,700 RPM fastball you just saw, that one there, that takes your breath away. That slider there, that takes your breath away. Then when he adds in a cutter to steal strikes with it, that takes your breath away. I have not been, there's very few times that I go to a ballpark. I'm just telling you this. There's very few times where I go to a ballpark and I walk away going, damn, man, I can't believe what I just saw. That was awesome. And that was it last night for Jermaine Rosario. I'm telling you, put your radars up for this guy. It's happening. Now, it's up to him whether he throws enough strikes, whether he creates consistency. That's the part right there. But in terms of tools and potential, they're as good as they get for Jermaine Rosario. Believe me on that. Hey, Tark the Shark, as we're going to transition now to our next relief pitcher, and Jason Cabrera. He's another one that takes your breath away. Casey Austin and other Dodger Dog staff. Nowhere else are we getting Dodgers prospect coverage like this. Thank you so much. Well, I certainly appreciate you saying that, Tark the Shark. There's not a big audience out there for, there's a big audience if all I wanted to do was cover Zire Hope every night and have 17 posts on Zire Hope and have 16 posts on Alex Freeland. And the only guys you talk about are the top 5 or 6 prospects, and you want to just kind of throw it out there like that. I mean, there's a big audience for that type of thing, but that's not really prospect coverage in my opinion. Prospect coverage is covering all these guys with an equal blanket and just letting the meritocracy take over and letting the development and results on the field determine who actually is the best player. That's what prospect coverage is to me. And so, Tark the Shark, I always appreciate it. Thank you so much for the $5. But more so than that, thank you so much for the wonderful comment about the prospect coverage, because that's actually what prospect coverage is giving Connor Godwin, who we're going to talk about, the equal opportunity as you give Edgardo Henriquez to prove himself. And so if you never cover these guys, how can they prove themselves? That's kind of my point. So this is Jason Cabrera, who, speaking of proving themselves, so thanks for one last time. Thank you so much, Tark the Shark. That is wonderfully kind of you. Jason Cabrera, are you sitting down again? We just talked about how Jermaine Rosario hit 2,700. Now, that's not 2,700 off of Baseball Savant or whatever some of these people do, that statistic people run with. That is confirmed in the system data, 2,700, okay? I'm not making that up. That is as accurate as it gets. I'll tell you another thing that happened last night. Now, this is scoreboard. This was on the scoreboard. Jason Cabrera, been telling you about him, hit 100 miles an hour. 100. And then watch the sliders. So as you realize he hits 100, that's 100 miles an hour. That pitch right there, that's the exact pitch that was 100 miles an hour. Now, off of that, watch the sliders. Watch this. Whoop, man, now that pitch didn't land, but his slider is dirty, okay? So the slider for Jason Cabrera, that one there, that's a 2,700 RPM slider, okay? So the 2,700 RPM fastball for Jermaine Rosario, 2,700 RPM slider for Jason Cabrera. So here you have a guy, Jason Cabrera, probably most Dodgers fans have never heard of. He's hitting 100 miles an hour and throwing a 2,700 RPM slider. Now, for both Rosario and Cabrera, I'm going to keep it real. They've got to throw strikes, just like Ronan Kopp last year, at the beginning of this year. It doesn't matter how good your stuff is. Doesn't matter what the RPMs are, the velo are, is. If it's not in the strike zone and you're handing out free baseball and you have big leg kicks and people are stealing you blind and they're doing that off of 2 or 3 walks per inning, it does not matter what your stuff is. So both for Cabrera and for Rosario, it's going to come down to execution. Can they keep the ball in the strike zone? But I'm telling you, the arm of Jason Cabrera is absolute electricity. I mean, the ball, it's electric when it comes out of his hand. So I wanted to cover Jason Cabrera. Antonio Knowles also pitched last night, but we have covered him, gosh, I don't know how many different times. So we're going to go. We have a lot of other prospects to get to. We'll get to Tones. You know, he's one of my favorites. We'll get to Tones at a different day and a different time because, like I said, we've got to get to a lot of other guys, including Zire Hope, including Eric Swan, that we're going to get to right now. So let's transition down to the high A level. And let's open up our file on last night's performance from one Mr. Eric Swan, who, by the way, was very impressive, okay? And we're going to cover this in a very objective way. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're going to talk about the entire thing just like my post did today. So here's the thing about Eric Swan. He's long. He has awesome pitches. The metrics on his pitches are as good or better than any pitcher in the game. That's at every level, okay? Last night, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, 8 Ks, 4 walks. So the thing about Swan, big arm, long, incredible metrics. He's going to light up a track man, no doubt. But the thing about him is that you got to keep the ball in the zone like we talked about. So he is developing. My opinion, Sean Coyne, who's the pitching coach at High A Great Lakes, he could send Swan out there and tell whoever it is catching for Great Lakes, Nelson Quiros, by the way, just got promoted to Tulsa. I got to meet him last night. That's Carlos Rojas, who caught him last night. So he could tell Carlos, hey, Carlos, put down 1 and 3 all night. Put down 1 about 80% of the time, which is fastball, and then occasionally put down that one there, the 3, for the slider. We're going to make it a 2-pitch mix, and we're going to make sure he's in the strike zone. I think Sean Coyne could do that all day long, and Eric Swan would have probably half or maybe a quarter of the amount of walks that he has. Look at that changeup. Wow. Maybe a quarter of the walks. He hung that one, got lucky. A quarter of the walks that he's had. But the thing is, he has so much more to offer that why pin him down into a 12-ounce cup? Why make him a 12-ounce cup when at this point in his career, he has the potential to be a big gulp? Now, I know some of the most intelligent baseball fans that we have here at Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. The thing that you're going to say to me first off the bat is you're going to say, well, what about Bobby Miller? You've been saying for 10 years that Bobby Miller needs to simplify things. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I didn't say that when he was at the High A Great Lakes level. Eric Swan has not proved yet whether he can or can't develop into, look at that changeup, into being a big gulp in terms of the amount of complexity he has in his pitch mix. So let him continue to try to be the biggest big gulp he possibly can be. And then here in a couple of years, if he's with AAA Oklahoma City or even maybe towards the end of his AA stint with AA Tulsa, if he's proven at that point that just the bigger bag of pitches, he just can't, it's just too much, he can't execute them, and he's getting behind the count, he's not hitting locations properly because he's trying to do too much. If at that time that becomes the case, then you can simplify it down to maybe the 2 or 3 best pitches that he can execute. Now is not the time for that. Now is the time to let Eric Swan use that 103-mile-an-hour fastball, the devastating changeup, the slider, the curveball. Let him use all of that to see just how big of a big gulp he can become. And he's in that process, so I warn you, if you're following Eric Swan, do not base anything that you think about him on box scores. Now, results matter, but he is not results-oriented right now. Where he is oriented is just simply to find the best version of himself, which means there's going to be rough times through it. The statistics aren't always going to look good. You got to be patient, just like Ben Kasparius, working through that. So the next guy that we are going to get into is Zire Hope. And boy, Zire Hope, I absolutely love his swing. Now, I'll say this. Let me get to yesterday's. He does have a lot of upward plane to him, but here's the key here, okay? Let me back this up and stop this. This is what I call slot. See how the barrel is exactly flat right here? What you call that is 0 degrees. So down here would be a negative, up here would be a positive, okay? So if, let's say the ball's coming in at, let's say 23 degrees like this, okay? That's probably about 23 degrees right there. The goal right here is to get your barrel flat. So as you slot this back elbow, remember Joe Morgan with the chicken wings? The better hitters, the best hitters, at the exact time you slot the back elbow, that barrel goes to 0 degrees. And then the hands need to be in the back of the zone. If you're kind of wanting a little bit of an idea here, look at the head look at the hands, look at the inside of his hip, and then all the way down through his back knee. You can make a straight line right here, and it's all a straight line. That's called leverage. Now, most hitters are not able to get to this 0-degree slot where they slot the back elbow in a position to where all of this is lined up. Usually the hands have moved forward, and they're up here because they're not as strong as Zire Hope. So what this allows Zire Hope to do is to find the baseball. You can see his eyes, both eyes on the baseball. Now, because he's at 0 degrees, he can figure out how he wants to, what degree does he want to use that top hand to turn the barrel to the ball with, okay? That's key number one. He has all of that down in his swing. These are reasons why we know we had this big debate on Hope the other day. These are big reasons why the Dodgers and people that know what they're talking about are so high on him. Because not only is he strong, not only does he hit the ball hard, he has these mechanics. He is slotted at the back of the zone perfectly, okay? So here's another deal. As he came down to this, he started up here. You can see that he came with his hands. His hands probably started by right here. His hands made a very direct downward path to the back of the zone. So do you swing down the ball? Hell yes, you do. You swing down, no, you don't swing down at the ball, but you do swing down to get your hands to the back of the zone to slot the barrel. So he came down with the hands at the back. Now what I want you to watch the hands come through the hitting zone flat. So down and back, flat through the middle. Watch this, flat through the middle, okay? Watch flat in the middle, up in front. Flat in the middle, up in front. So what that's going to do, hard ground balls in the back as you're coming down, line drives in the middle of the hitting zone, home runs in the front, like that, okay? And then sometimes he's so good that he's going to hit the bottom of the ball, even if it's at the back of his swing, like this one. He's going to hit the bottom of the ball, create backspin, and because he's so strong, he's still going to be able to hit home runs. So that is a picture-perfect swing. What you can see here, though, what I don't like about his swing, I'll say this, as he hits it, let me go ahead and get up here and frame it after he hits the ball. If I can do that, give me just a second. Let me play that, and let's see if I can get this framed right in the front. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that. But as he's in front, you can see him leaning back. Watch him lean back. I don't like that. Because what that's going to create, if he's a little bit early and he starts leaning back, that's going to create the upward plane to his swing too early. That's where his swing and miss comes from. That's where the rollover ground balls come from. So I don't like the lean. I would like for him to stay a little bit more upright through the ball because I think that keeps him from wanting to start the incline of his swing too soon. So I think he can still have all the consistency and all the power, but then not have the swing and miss if he doesn't lean back quite as much as he does. I'm telling you, that lean back, if you do that too soon, yes, you're going to hit 700 feet home runs, but you're also going to swing and miss and roll over the ball a lot because you're going to start inclining your swing way too soon. So that's if my concern was with Zire Hope, it would be, hey, just stay tall through the ball. You got everything else down. Stay tall through the ball, and we've got a real big time thing going on here as far as what we have. So there's Zire Hope. That's who I wanted to cover at the single A level. Now let's go to at the high A level, I should say. Now let's go down to the single A level. I got a couple of guys. Again, I'm monitoring the chat here. I'm going to say this too, and this is the link. I don't have any talking points on the LA Dodgers with their series with the Boston Red Sox starting tonight. If you do, hop on the show. I have the link. I just posted the link. Hop on the show and we will talk about whatever you want. So let's get to our next guy that we want to talk about, and that is Miro Martinez. Martinez actually is a guy that the Dodgers are really high on. Another shortstop prospect. You have all these young shortstop prospects like Emil Morales. You got Oswaldo Osorio. You got Miro Martinez, Kellen Lindsey, Yovendry Vargas. You got Alex Freeland, Noah Miller, Sean McClain, Jordan Thompson. This organization is loaded. I mean, loaded with shortstops. Another reason why Alex Freeland might be a guy you might move on, not because you don't think he's great, but because you have all these other great young shortstops in your system. This is Miro Martinez. He's one of the most talented. Now, he hasn't had a great year. He actually started in Great Lakes. Was okay. Got sent back down to Rancho. He's been there since. That's Jaron Elkins. Look at that young man run. Jaron Elkins leads the California League in stolen bases. Last night, that hit tied the game up. So Myro Martinez, I want you to just, I don't want you to like think about Alex Freeland and Josue de Paula and Zire Hope first. Don't get me wrong. But Myro Martinez, definitely a project, one of the most talented set of tools at shortstop in the younger sections of the minor leagues down in Rancho. Very talented. Wanted to go ahead and show you him. And also down on the single A level, another guy I wanted to talk about is, if I can get to his video, let me go ahead and click my Twitter over to here. My Twitter. Old habits die hard. I promise you that. I'm gonna get to a guy that you need to know about because his swing and miss stuff is just absolutely stupid, off the charts, and that would be one Mr. Aiden Fuller. If I can actually, I'm failing. There it is, right here. Aiden Fuller. I'm going to get to any random video because he did not pitch last night. Let's get to the last time he pitched. Aiden Fuller. Okay, last time he went out, 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 6 Ks, 2 results, whatever. Okay. But the thing about it is, hitters don't pick up the ball. It's very deceptive. Look at that. Look how he hides the ball. See how he comes all the way behind his back and all that? And so he hides the ball very well, so you don't see it. And then the movement on his fastball is really late. Look at that late, that high ride. But if you see one that moves, watch how late it moves. It's simply very difficult to pick up as a hitter from the time that you just don't see it out of his hand. And then it's moving late. Right there, that one moves. See how the hitter's like, damn, I didn't see that ball. That's crazy. Okay, so let me back that up and see they just do not see the ball. And so because of that, although he's like 96, maybe 95, he has an insane amount of swing and miss. See, that hitter's like, wow. I didn't expect that ball to carry. I didn't see it real well. Looked like it was coming out. Look, just doesn't see the ball very well. Aiden Fuller has an insane amount of swing and miss to him, and he has not given up a run his last 3 outings. Now, again, we're going to keep it real. Aiden Fuller has walked a ton of guys this year. So there is no sugarcoating that. There is no getting around that. No doubt about that. Because, again, I'm going to say it, if the ball is not in the strike zone, it doesn't matter how good your stuff is. That's going to be the key for Aiden Fuller, is actually keeping the ball in the zone. But if he does, I wanted to show you him and the deceptiveness, the late movement, and just kind of give you the cue of how, if you want to know what a pitcher stuff's like, watch the hitters, okay? It's like a broadcaster. If you want to know if a ball is going to be a home run or not, watch the outfielder that's hit to. The outfielder will tell you where it's going to be. That's why usually when you hear a broadcaster and they're fooled, it wasn't the fly of the ball that fooled them. The outfielder's the one who fooled them. So if you want to know how good a pitcher's stuff is, all you got to do is just simply watch the hitters. Look at that swing. That is a swing of a hitter that did not see the ball whatsoever and is like, I don't even know what just happened to me right there. So Aiden Fuller, wanted to cover him. And then I wanted to circle back to Justin Robleski, who's starting tonight for AAA Oklahoma City. Justin Robleski is absolutely 100% the best version of himself right now. I've said many different times, hey, Robo, you found it. Don't get bored. Whatever you do, don't get bored whatsoever. He has not. He has continued to pitch very well. Excited to see Robo tonight. So when you're talking about reinforcements, here's one of the big ones, Justin Robleski. Is he a trade target? He damn sure would be if I was another team. A left-hander that can approach 100 miles an hour, that is pitching front to back with his fastball combined with his sweeper and all of his off-speed stuff to get back to his fastball. You damn right, especially considering the Dodgers, they have so much depth if it's all healthy that in the future, what will Justin Robleski's role be? Great catch there, Nick. That's Nick Senzel that caught that ball right there. Senzel's been hitting the ball quite a bit better lately. So Alex Freeland, Justin Robleski, watch for those guys. One, obviously Robleski could be reinforcements for the big club just in and of himself. And then also, too, he might be a guy that can help you land a closer and something like that. So could Alex Freeland. So keep an eye on Justin Robleski. And then another guy I wanted to cover that has been pitching very well. I'll tell you a guy that if I was another team, and this is a little bit kind of out in the wilderness and out in the weeds. But just follow me here. If I was another team, now not as a headliner, don't get me wrong. He wouldn't, the first guy I would ask for is DePaula and Hope and Freeland and Robleski. Don't get me wrong. But for a guy that would be thrown into a trade like that as maybe the second guy in the trade, so let me put you this way. Maybe the first guy that's the second guy in a trade, not the headliner, but the second guy, might be this guy right here, Patrick Copen, okay? And he has the big stuff just like Eric Swan, but right now he's actually, I think, probably a little bit ahead in terms of his development with his execution. I promise you, if you offered me maybe a Zire Hope and a Patrick Copen, that's a pretty damn nice package. Now, you might have to offer something else with that. But he might be the first guy out of the second guy in a trade, if that makes sense, that I would want. This guy is upper 90s. His changeup is really nice. His slider's good. His execution is improving. He's overcome the lost eyesight in his right eye. And he hasn't pitched a whole lot. Most of the instruction he's gotten has been in pro ball, and so he's taken to it. When I say instruction, I mean like with all of the advanced analytics and stuff. The guys over at Marshall do a terrific job. I didn't mean it in that way. Patrick Copen, there's no telling what his ceiling could be. So if I were another team, he would definitely be a target of mine. There would be no doubt about it. And I'll tell you another guy that's really sneaky, that is just really good. And I've had a chance now to see him, I think, 5 times with my own eyes. And I can tell you, I saw him last night, and he played just really good defense at third base. I hope the Dodgers keep Kyle Nevin at third base, because if he develops as a third baseman, the dude is about 6'5". Funny story about Kyle Nevin. His freshman year of high school, he's 5'5". His sophomore year of high school, he was 5'7". By the time he made it to Baylor, he was 6'5". He grew like 7 inches in 1 year, okay? And so what happened to Kyle Nevin is he was a little guy growing up. So he had to learn how to hit like a little guy. That's why he hits the ball up the middle. That's why he hits the ball to the right side. That's why he uses the big part of the field. But then he grew into the big body, and so then he added the pull side power, of which he absolutely has, a tremendous amount of pull side power like that. And so now you have a guy that learned how to hit the ball up the middle to the right side that also is big and can pull the ball. He is just getting started. Buy stock in Kyle Nevin. This dude can absolutely hit. I'm just telling you. And he played a great third base last night. Now, I've seen him make errors at third base too. I think that's part of the development piece. But I am really, really high on Kyle Nevin. I just really like what he has to offer. So those are the guys that I wanted to cover. If you guys have anything else or any other prospects that you wanted to cover, now is your time to, in the chat, tell me who you want to cover or what the talking points might be. But hey, let's get into a little bit of conversation about the Dodgers. Again, the link is down there. If you want to join the show, hop on. I will get you right in. So tonight, the Dodgers start in Boston. Boston just gave away Rafael Devers. Very winnable series, no doubt about that. More than anything, though, just more than the wins, I talk about results and process. Just go up there and start putting things together. Start looking better on the defensive side of the ball. Start looking more consistent offensively. Bullpen, start throwing strikes. Pitchers, go 6 innings. Just when the Dodgers leave the Boston this weekend, all I ask at this point, yes, Fiducia still catches. Yes, I know whatever he's listed, but yes, he's not played anywhere else other than catcher, and he has 100% Shiva been the primary catcher for AAA Oklahoma City. Just put it together and start playing better. It's kind of like a hitter that's in a slump. What you tell him is, hey, just start stringing quality at-bats together. Start putting good at-bats together. Don't worry about the results. Put quality at-bats together. Just start hitting the ball hard, and then let's see where that takes you. That's kind of what I'm telling the Dodgers now. Let's just kind of start putting quality games together. Win, lose, or draw, let's just start playing good, because this team's talented enough that if it does play good, it's going to win the games it wants. So I think that's going to do it for me today on Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. So, hey, you Dodgers dogs are the best crowd out there. You know that. I want to thank you for tuning in very much. Best crowd, not the biggest, but absolutely the best crowd. So, hey, one last time. So the next time that you'll see us will be maybe Sunday night. I don't think we'll be able to put anything together Saturday. Maybe Saturday evening, not sure. But just have your notifications ready, and definitely Sunday night, though. So I want to thank you one more time for tuning in. And as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.